away go the men's senior K2s. And over on the left bank there, Melvin Swallow and Andrew Martin making a good start. The white canoe beside them, paddled by Sean Martin and Shane Timlin. And just behind the leaders, the red canoe of Garth Cooper and Mark Titman in some trouble, having difficulty holding their line. Out from under the trees, the yellow canoe of the English brothers Ian and Alan Tordoff is in there challenging for the lead. Fourth position, it's Kevin Owen and Steve Dock. White boat in fifth is Paul Murphy and Brendan Devlin. This is the start of the men's senior K1s. Last year's winner, Pete Connor, is the fourth boat from the right. And he's got a good, strong start. And also away well, closest to the camera, Jimmy Butler is the figure in his helmet. 37 starters in this men's senior K1. Scrap and Weir now, first test of rough water skill. The Tordoffs still in front, followed by Stan Nissen and John Elliott. Now let's see how they do. They fell out at this point last year. They're having some more problems. They've done well. Third placers, Sean Martin and Shane Timlin. The white canoe here of Paul Murphy and Brendan Devlin from the Wildwater Kayak Club in Powerstown. And the red boat has Mark Titman and Garth Cooper in it. They got that line wrong. They've only been paddling together 2 weeks and they've folded this one, and that could well be the end of their race. Back up the river, the bank line with competitors, the women's K1s, the veterans K1s, junior K1s and the whitewater classes all get underway together. Some of these paddlers having trouble controlling their canoes. A bit of a pile up there. Nothing too serious. We're back at Strap and Weir. White boat here, Niceport Sea Scouts, Nicole Kindred and Brian Nolan have taken a bit of a dip. This is the first of the K1s, Raymond Anderson from Australia, taking the easier, though slower route, and the faster men, Jimmy Butler and Pete Connor behind him. The first of the whitewater boats at Strap and Weir, this is Mick O'Mara from the 180 Kayak Club in Waterford, followed by Rory McGann, a member of the Irish Slalom team, Roddy McDonald, 30, strongly fancied. Fourth place, Kenny McNair from Scotland. At the end of the weir, Eileen Murphy, second of the women, green paddles, yellow boat, the vertical line. And doing well to keep himself up, John Moyer, the junior, Selbridge Paddlers. Yellow boat behind it, Brian Gallagher of Salmon Leak Canoe Club in Leaksville. These are the leaders of the K2, Alan and Ian Tordoff. Ian's second time to compete in the Liffey Descent. He partnered Melvin Swallow last year. They finished second to the Irish pair of Ian Pringle and Howard Watkins in what was an extremely close finish. These are the men just behind. Two English crews, Stan Nissen and John Elliott, and on their wash, Melvin Swallow and Andrew Martin. And just threatening to creep into the picture, the leading Irish crew, Sean Martin and Shane Timlin. Temple Mills Weir, about 5 miles gone. The Tordoff brothers lead the K2 class with 37 seconds to spare. Alan, stroking here, has been British champion for 3 years. Ian competed for Britain in Yugoslavia and wildwater racing, and he's the under-21 champion for 1990. Hesitation here for the second pair, Nissen and Elliott, and it's costing them a portion of their 34-second margin on the third-place crew. They're too far to the left here. They're trying to line up for the fish chute, and it's very precise, only about 2 feet wide. They've made it. The margin for error there was minute. Swallow and Marks, they're now just 14 seconds behind. They've taken the slower route. Let's move half a mile ahead to Vanessa Weir. These are the Tordoff brothers. They'll have to shoot this one at an angle to avoid damaging the boat. And the big K2 safely through. That was a great shoot. First of the men, senior K1s, Raymond Anderson of Australia. And in the background there, Jimmy Butler from Nottingham. He's been concentrating on his sprint racing in the English National Championships. Second placers in the K2s, Nissen and Elliott, but their lead over the third place Swallow and Mart is now just 7 seconds. Another good shoot. The leaders at Selbridge. And the margin for them now is 56 seconds. First of the whitewater boats, Mick O'Mara from Waterford, followed by Rory McGann of Liffey Valley. And then come the Scottish entries, Kenny McNair and Roddy McDonald. Stan Misson and John Elliott. Now, what's the gap? Not very much at all, is it? Melvin Swallow and Andrew Martin still hot on their heels. Temple Mills again on the far side, leading the women's K1s. Michelle Barry, last year's runner-up. She won the national championship this year and finished 6th at the Grand Prix in London in August. Now the contrast on the Liffey. This is Leakslip Lake, and after the rough and tumble of 3 early weirs, they've a mile and a half before this. A 500-metre portage at Leakslip Dam. They have to take the canoes out of the water and run down the slope to re-enter the river below the dam. All you need after a tough journey downstream. Back above the lake, and Jimmy Butler has taken the lead in the senior K1s from the Australian Raymond Anderson. And almost at the halfway point, a change in second and third of the K2s. Leakslip Rapids, and it's Melvin Swallow and Andrew Mart ahead of Stan Misson and John Elliott now. The first weir on the lower section of the course, the sluice weir. The leaders have opted for the slower chicken chute. The ESB may well have released 30 million gallons of water, but it's lack of it, caused by the recent dry weather that's making things difficult. The crews risk breaking the nose of their canoes on the rocks at the bottom. The Tornups have got away with it. Back at the portage, Barry Foster and Andrew Boland from Salmonleaf, followed by Brendan O'Brien and Joe Blunt from Salmonleaf as well. Here comes Jimmy Butler from England. He's leading the men's senior K1s. It matters not how you make the descent, simply that you do it. The sluice weir, the powerful currents are a hazard for the paddlers here. There's only a 12-foot gap between the walls. Here's Fergus Cooper from Selby. Now, there'll be quite a few canoeists down here, so it's getting more and more slippy all the time. Niall McLean finding that out to his cost. A painful descent, you might say. Lucan Weir, the Tornups now with a lead of 1 minute and 49 seconds. 45-degree approach necessary to safeguard the boat. This is a popular spot with spectators, and the biggest crowd yet to witness the Liffey Descent is assembled on the banks. And on the bridge in Lucan. Sluice weir again takes the rough side of it, the 6th place crew, Asa Cooper and David Francis. These are second in the K2. Swallow and Mark holding on to that position. Didn't look like too clever a descent there for them, did it? Behind them, just 7 seconds between them, Stan Misson and John Elliott. So the margin between third and second and first remaining constant. And Misson and Elliott taking a different route and leading out to faster waters. Rory McGann here, 579, one of our top slalom canoeists, just about to get back in. And up go Ewan Malone and Paul Maroney. Go on, Connor, yes. Quick take job, and Connor Maloney's away. He's leading the men's junior K1s, and right at his tail, Michelle Barry leading the women's K1s. And a Liffey weir. Straightforward slide down the wall. The leaders, quick time check. And their lead now up 2 minutes on Swallow and Fox. Back up the river at the sluice weir, and where did he get that hat? Malcolm Banks finished third last year, and while he was taking the less demanding course, Pete Connor has edged himself just in front by opting for the more risky route. But so did this fella, Damien Waits, of the Australian marathon team, not with quite the same degree of success though. Second place at Anna Liffey, Melvin Swallow and Andrew Mart, 17 seconds up on Misson and Elliott. Mick O'Mara at the sluice weir. Now the white waters have less difficulty getting through here. They're specifically designed for this kind of water. Val Pierce, men's junior K1. And then Eileen Murphy, last year's winner, lying second in the women's to Michelle Barry. Lucan Weir, Jimmy Butler safely through, a margin of over 1.5 minutes now on Peter Connor. O'Brien from Salmon Leap. Oh, that's the exciting way to shoot the weir. On to Wren's Nest. Alan and Ian Tordoff taking the most difficult, but yet the fastest and most satisfying course. And that's a good shoot. Just what you'd expect from our leaders. Now here's the advantage that Pete Connor built up, thanks to that more risky route through the sluice. He's well up on Malcolm Banks. The hat's still there though. But they're a good minute and a half behind Jimmy Butler, the leader. Fourth placer, Raymond Anderson from Australia. He won the Millennium event in the Liffey, but he's suffering from a lack of distance training. He's specialising in the sprints with the Olympics in view. Mark Downey and Howard Story safely down. This is Wren's Nest, about 5 miles to go. Sean Martin and Shane Timlin currently in third position. And that's followed by the English pair of Kevin Owen and Steve Dark. They've got a bit too far over. They've got sucked into the stopper here. A little help to get out. And they're going to have to bail out. Steve Dark sinking at the stern. And Senior K1's Paul Scott over at Lucan. Mick Keating. And then a little bit of difficulty, and when you're shooting the weir like that, well, it's hard to get the brakes on. Palmerstown weir, now this is a major problem for the paddlers here, for it's big and they're tired. But the Tordoffs, I'm sure, are feeling confident at this stage. Now Connor and Banks battling for second at Wren's Nest. Pete Connor should know this well. He went to school at King's Hospital just behind the woods here. Up ahead at Palmerstown, and it's Swallow and Mart from Martin and Timlin, which means that Misson and Elliott have gone out of the picture. The Irishman now in third place. And ahead of them, up at Chapel Lizard, the leaders, the Tordoffs, well in control of the race. This is Damien Waits of Australia. We saw him capsize earlier. Oh, he's done it again. Wren's Nest, big hit total. Kenny McNair from Scotland in second position, just behind O'Mara. While up ahead with the finishing line in sight, the Englishmen Alan and Ian Tordoff are about to claim victory in the major class, the Senior K2s. Their time, 1 hour, 54 minutes and 20 seconds. While up at the finish, this is the battle for second and third in the Senior K1. Jimmy Butler's already won this class, but second placer Pete Connor is just going to hold on from Malcolm Banks. What a battle these two have had. It's Connor second and Banks third, and there's just a second between them. Marvellous finish.
And Alan Tordoff, winners of the K2 class, congratulations. Did it go much the way you expected it to go?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to be over the first weir first at Stratton. We wanted to be over there first if we could, and we did that, and just stretched out. You had a problem with your paddle on the first weir, didn't you?
Yeah, I cracked the end of one of my paddles, which is a bit of a worry, but with new materials, the paddles lasted all the way.
Jimmy Butler, winner of the K1 class, third time lucky for you at the Liffey Descent.
Yes, I didn't do too well in previous years, but I think I know the route's a bit better now. That's all.
The experience helped you this time round?
Yeah, it definitely did. No with the weights in, like, correct place to shoot them.
Eileen Murphy, winner of the women's Senior K1. This is becoming a regular occurrence for you.
Well, I won it last year, but it was about 5 years before that since I previously won it, because I'd had a few years out with injury. But I was very pleased to win it this year because I didn't really expect to. My main opposition, Michelle Barry, has won every single marathon race this year. And really, on flat water, she's miles ahead of me.